10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's installment of the world-famous Wrestle Talk podcast. I am the one, the only, the Skywalker, Luke Roberts, and joining me alongside me tonight is a man who you've known since episode 1. He is, to quote the line, he is the original, the number one, as he just showed you. Ladies and gentlemen, Nightmare Jones. Jonesy, how you doing tonight here on the Wrestle Talk podcast?
What is going on, Luke Roberts? It has been a while since we've been able to have a show together. So I'm looking forward to this.
And you know something, Jonesy, I look at it from a perspective of tonight. It always seems like when the Wrestle Talk podcast is trying something new, they're kind of taking care of things here. They're doing things a little bit innovative, as we've always gotten to make it a point. Shout out to Assad, by the way, for putting out our first message here of the evening. Make it a point to share all those great messages and correspond with us. Tonight, it's going to be a great night for that. Because if you notice the title of the show is Fantasy Draft. Now, for those that aren't familiar, in the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to sit back here, and a lot of people talk about what would happen if you had the opportunity to be the general manager or an owner of a professional wrestling organization. And what Jonesy and I are going to do tonight is we're going to take an opportunity to have that situation. We're going to choose a couple of different promotions. We're going to go ahead and be the armchair quarterback, if you would, for a professional wrestling organization. And if we were competing against one another, who would we trade? Who would we want from other promotions to make our promotion the greatest professional wrestling promotion in the world? It's going to be right here tonight on the Wrestle Talk podcast. And again, make it a point, share it out, hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling, hashtag Wrestle Talk podcast. Share those stars, share those comments. Make sure we let people all around know that the Wrestle Talk podcast is still going strong here each and every episode that we bring forward. Now, Jonesy, like you said, I know we haven't talked in a while. What you been up to, my friend?
Just, the usual refereeing for House of Pain and WDWA and that's about it. I'm still a big fan of the Snitch,
You know something, and I've been very fortunate in the last few months. I haven't had to deal with the Snitch. You can tell I'm relaxed. I'm comfortable. I'm sitting in my office. I don't have to worry about all the headaches. The Snitch has been way off my radar. And I'll tell you right now, I'm very happy. I'm very relaxed. It's a great time. We're getting ready. We're on the road to WrestleMania. We got a lot of great things here. Again, the Elimination Chamber just concluding this past weekend. And I got to tell you, a pretty good Monday Night Raw last night as well. We're going to talk a little more about that in the High Spot segment here tonight. Jonesy, I got to tell you right now, and thank you, Assad, sharing it on Facebook, sharing it on X, making a point to put out those shares so we can get people watching the program, being involved, making sure people know that we're going strong right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. Now, Jonesy, I got to ask you one other thing too here. I know that you are as you said, House of Pain Wrestling, WDWA. You are the senior official. You are the man that nobody crosses in the greater Mid-Atlantic area.
Yes.
I got to ask you right now, have you fully recovered? I think the last time we talked, you were still recovering from that infamous taser episode. Have you recovered fully from that?
I mean, yeah, I am fully recovered from it. I still have PTSD from tasers, as Hardcore Hots likes to threaten me with tasers every chance that he gets. So yeah, you know.
You know something? If you had the snitch down there in WDWA, if you had the snitch down in House of Pain, you know that wouldn't be a problem at all.
Like I said, hey, I'm the only person I think that has a snitch T-shirt.
That is true. That is true. And you know something, again, that's one of the great things about the Wrestle Talk podcast. We can share all the great stories, all the great history of the Wrestle Talk podcast. And again, Jonesy and I have known each other for a long time, and tonight's going to be a great episode right here. Again, hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling, hashtag Wrestle Talk Podcast, hashtag WTP. And you know something, Jonesy? I'm going to do something right now that I normally don't do. And that's one of the things that I was going to do, and now it's not going to let me cooperate. We need to talk about, too, and we're going to be able in the next few weeks to have some more information. If you go to the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame webpage, and bear with me, the address is just a little long. It is ISTLWHOF. If you type it up on any kind of a search engine, you can find Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. We've got the most recent induction class, and you can also purchase tickets for the upcoming Hall of Fame induction ceremony on July 19th. It's going to be a Sunday here in the St. Louis area. Make it a point to stop by. $30 in advance, get you a ticket, get you a great meal, and get you the opportunity to be part of some great Hall of Fame inductions. Once again, the Wrestle Talk podcast is, again, a very strong point, and a shout out to the one, the only, the Night Owl, who just recently was given the role of media director, not media coordinator, but basically he's the behind-the-scenes guy. He's the one that can take care of all of your media situations. And again, we're getting things finalized, so once again, we'll be able to hopefully carry 2026 Hall of Fame induction ceremony right here on all forms of Wrestle Talk podcast media. So again, shout out to the Night Owl. I know he's going to give us a lot of grief here tonight when it comes down to it's a great night. Now, Jonesy.
Yes.
Oh, and I know again our board ops are working double time tonight because of having the draft. They're trying to keep up on things. Before we get too much farther along, this is something I haven't gotten to do in a long time.
Okay.
Happy I can do it. Before we talk about all the great things that set up the show and make the show work each and every week, I think it's time for us to take care of a little piece of business. And matter of fact, you know what it is. You are the originator. You the innovator. You are the one sounding voice each and every week that we are live on the air. We always make it a point to talk about this wonderful, great country we're in. Let's go ahead. And again, sorry, guys in the back. Totally my fault. Kind of jumping a little bit ahead here. Let's go ahead here. And now that we've got things taken care of, we're going to talk about our great sponsors in just a few moments. Before, actually, let's leave it up here. Don't worry about taking it away. Let's talk about our great sponsors, Jonesy. We got Retro Zone. We got Painter Stream Productions, the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, our great friends over at Doomed Outfitters. If you need anything made, Doomed Outfitters are your folks for it. The WDWA, World Domination Wrestling Alliance, which you can catch every other Tuesday night with Elevation, and of course the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. And Jonesy, as you can see these across the bottom of the screen as we had there, it's going to be a great show from top to bottom. But you know something? It's now time. As the Night Owl once said, you keep things sharp like a number 2 pencil. So I'm going to go ahead as a part of what we do each and every episode. I'm going to throw things to you because we got a little bit of business we need to take care of here. So, Jonesy, as it's always been, I'm going to throw it to you to take care of our last little piece of introductory business for tonight's episode of the WTP.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is time. Put your hands over your heart and let's celebrate the greatest country in America, damn it. I just like it so much. So much.
Joe, you're not done yet, my friend. You're just about done, but you forgot one little thing.
What's that?
The Joe Lance touch to the end of that wonderful rendition of the national anthem.
It makes me cry every time, and it makes my ears bleed too.
That is true. That is true. And again, I want to give a shout out to all of our first responders, all of our police and firefighters, all of our armed forces who are out defending our country each and every day so that we have the opportunity and the privilege to come forward here and talk about the Wrestle Talk podcast, talk about professional wrestling as a whole. And you know something, Jonesy? I mean, again, things have been happening here in the St. Louis area. I know there's a lot of great promotions that have been putting stuff together. I want to give a shout out to our great friends over at SICW who are going to be putting on Fan Fest 4 in May. I believe it's May 8th and May 9th, Fairview Heights, Illinois. Make it a point, check them out on social media, SICW on social medias. You want to check out their website, I believe it's sicw.org. They're going to have a lot of people coming in. I know they're going to have Mick Foley coming in and doing his one-night comedy / talk show as a part of the event. I know there's I believe, just kind of going back through things, there are some wrestlers. D'Lo Brown's coming in.
Nice.
The Rock and Roll Express and Kerry Morton are going to be in town. I'm gonna kind of keep looking through this as the show goes on tonight because it's going to be a phenomenal 2 days here in the St. Louis area. I believe they're also going to have their annual battle Bruiser Brody Memorial Cup matchup as well. A lot of great wrestlers have held that trophy. I know that. I believe Volatile Curtis Wild has held that title. I know that I believe Bobby D has been a former champion. There's a lot of great wrestlers in SICW who've held that championship. And Jonesy, I'm going to tell you right now, you know me, I'm always good about great pro wrestling action. In St. Louis, there's a lot of it. You've got the MMWA, you got Dynamo Pro, you got CHWA, you got IEW, you got WLW, you got SICW, you got Glory Pro. I mean, I could go on. You got St. Louis Anarchy. This recent episode of SICW matchup between two men who basically represent the past and the future of the St. Louis professional wrestling scene. It's a matchup between Billy McNeil and member Dysfunction Chris Exodus. If anybody has had a chance to check that match out or hasn't had a chance to check it out yet, make it a point to check them out because that is a phenomenal matchup. And I believe here in the upcoming weeks, it's now going to be a 6-man tag action between, I believe it's Curtis Wild, Billy McNeil, and I believe it's Gary Jackson taking on all 3 members of Dysfunction in a 6-man tag. It's going to be a great matchup. And any matches you want to give a plug out to real quick before we get into high spots this evening?
Not really. Not that I can think of, to be honest with you.
Well, you know, Jonesy, and again, we're going to be talking about it later on, making it a point to talk about. Another we can look at, too, is the idea of WDWA. It's got a lot going on as well. We're going to make sure to kind of keep you up to date on that as well. Again, from top to bottom, a lot of great professional wrestling here in the St. Louis area. And again, if you get a chance, not just in St. Louis, not just in the Mid-Atlantic, not just the West Coast, make it a point to support your local professional wrestling organization. Without them, the professional wrestling scene doesn't exist the way we have it. I do want to give one other shout out to it. It's a name that you're very familiar with, Jonesy. If you get a chance, another match I want to throw out there. I just saw it recently. It's part of CHWA. They had, as part of their legacy event, was a matchup between Jalen Strong, a man who's going to be doing big things in the pro wrestling scene in 26 and the year beyond. Went to a 30-minute time limit draw with the one, the only, the Street Reaper himself, Mike Outlaw. And I got to tell you right now, Jalen Strong, this kid has all the makings of being a superstar. And to be able to go 30 minutes with Mike Outlaw is a credit. And to give you an idea as well, and I was looking at this, taking care of things, that there's only been 2 people that have taken Mike Outlaw 30 minutes.
Right.
Jalen Strong was one. The walking weapon, Josh Alexander. So if you're able to go 30 minutes with Mike Outlaw, you're definitely in some rarefied air when you can say you've gone 30 minutes with Mike Outlaw.
This is true. I've seen Mike Outlaw wrestle live.
And that's one of those where, I mean, there's a lot of things taking here. And speaking of which, I don't know. I know it was announced here just a couple days ago, so it's not really breaking news. But as a part of the FanFest 4 wrestling extravaganza, they have announced their first matchup at SICW, and that is the Little Blue Dragon, Tootie Lynn Ramsey, taking on Lilith Khan. And I'm going to tell you right now, that matchup here, Jonesy, I know you're already trying to get your tickets right now as we go there. But as we're looking at it, you've got, just to give you an idea of some of the people that are going to be there. You got the Koloff brothers who are going to be in the house. You're going to have, let me look at some other ones here. Mick Foley's one-man show that's going to be a part of that event. Looking at things here as well. I'm trying to find some more information, but you know something, Jonesy?
Yeah.
While we're kind of looking back at these, for all the names that are going to be coming in for the Fan Fest, you know, we need to talk about the High Spot segment, because the High Spots is one of the big portions of what makes the Wrestle Talk podcast so unique each and every week. So at this point, Jonesy, if you'd be so kind, since you're the intro guy here tonight, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to toss it to you so you can get ready, because this is your night, my friend. Let's talk about the High Spot segment, but you got to get the intro. You got to get us fired up. You got to get us pepped.
I would do that.
Up here for the Wrestle Talk podcast High Spot segment. So Jonesy, take it away, my friend.
Before we do the High Spots, there is at least there is one match that I want to heighten, and that is next Saturday, WDWA in Inwood, West Virginia. We have a women's tag team match. The WDWA Women's Heavyweight Champion Tiffany Grady is tag teaming with another lady that has been around the wrestling scene, Miss Gabby Gilbert, and they're going to be facing against Sis Suzuki and Scarlett Midian, which is going to be a great match. Scarlett Midian is the #1 contender for the WDWA Women's Heavyweight Championship. So we know that that's going to be a very, very hard-hitting match. So we are excited about that. But enough with all this, ladies and gentlemen. It is now time to get into the High Spot segment. This is going to be segment. Here we go.
Mic check. Yeah. All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like flare chops. We talk shop, coming through the screens of the laptop, and non-stop like a running speakers of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops, like a clock flash, look like a barely flop. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast, now they know we about to start the show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, DJ Money bringing us into the High Spot segment each and every week here on the program. And I got to tell you right now, I had an opportunity to get a chance to go. And as a matter of fact, I'm looking at it right now. I'm going to go ahead real quick here. from the fine folks over at Bryant Hill. I'm going to go ahead and take just a second here. Power isn't announced; it's recognized. Something different about a man who takes care of himself with intention. Not flashy, not loud, disciplined. Okay. Farmhouse Tobacco Beard Oil was crafted for that man. Warm tobacco, deep amber, subtle spice, a scent that lingers without overpowering. That is, of course, the one, the only Farmhouse Tobacco Beard Oil, Hill.com. Yeah, I want to give a shout out to our good friend DJ Money to make sure we can get people over there. Got a lot of great products for sale. And you know something, Jonesy? We got a lot of things that have been going on in the world of pro wrestling. It always seems to happen that way right about the time we start getting ready to go to WrestleMania. So if you would be so kind, we've made a few upgrades since the last time you were on the program, Jonesy. So if we can go ahead and get the sounder going here for tonight's first High Spots question. All right, as you see here on the screen, now that some time has passed, do you think that Karrion Kross made the correct move? And I'm going to tell you right now, Jonesy, as we look at this right here, and we had that there, I'm going to tell you right now, and I think I've been one of the many that have talked about this. Mm-hmm. To me, I think the WWE, with all of their finances, all of their resources, everything they had, hugely dropped the ball on Karrion Kross. I really do. He's got an infinite amount of potential. He's got a great second in Scarlett with him. Mm-hmm. He could. I don't mean any disrespect towards the authors of Pain. No disrespect intended towards the Hall of Famer himself, Precious Paul Ellering. But I mean, to me, I think they just flat dropped the ball. And now that Kross is, I believe, the MLW heavyweight champion, I could see a lot of things happening for Karrion Kross or Killer Kross, however you identify with him. But like I said, to me, I think they just flat dropped the ball. There is no excuse with what Karrion Kross should be in the WWE, making the folks up at Titan Towers a ton of money, and they dropped the ball on it. Jonesy, your thoughts on Karrion Kross?
I would agree. I think that Karrion Kross has definitely made an even bigger name for himself since leaving the WWE. He's the WLW heavyweight champion. And you know, it's I think that it's a good thing for him, because I think that he's gone around the same path that Cody Rhodes did. Because remember, at one time, Cody Rhodes was just a mid-carder in the WWE, and then he left the WWE, and he made a name for himself. And when he came back, he was a bigger star than when he left the WWE. So I think that I don't think it's the last we're going to see of Karrion Kross in the WWE.
Well, Jonesy, you bring up a very good point. In the idea that when you look at this, is this going to be another situation of where, and if you look at this 20 years ago, if the WWE couldn't do anything with you, then that meant your career was done on the main stage. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, it's almost like if the WWE doesn't have something for you, it's giving you that opportunity to go out and make a bigger name for yourself. And it's almost like, and I don't want to say it this way because, again, I respect all of the fine men and women that work for the WWE. But it's almost like they want to go ahead and let you go out and do your own thing. So they kind of like you don't have to do as much work. So when you come back, all they got to do, boom, they plug you right into a main spot. And they look like they've done everything in the world. In reality, they did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad to look at it that way. I mean, again, the WWE's got a lot of things going on, a lot of great talent. And I got to say, for the record, Jonesy, last night, that opening segment with the Vision, I couldn't help, man, because every time he turned around, it was like everything that Paul Heyman has done in about the last 3 years came back to haunt him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there, and I am just sitting. I mean, again, I don't want to wish ill will towards Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, as many would say, the oracle, the wise man, the advocate, the concierge, or the consigliere. If you remember, for those that watched WWE Hall of Fame Class of 2005, when you sit there and look at it, Paul Heyman's done a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
But I got to say, last night, without question, was one of the greatest masterpieces I think I've ever seen Paul Heyman come across with. I really just absolutely enjoyed what happened last night.
I definitely agree. I think that last night it was a it was I enjoyed what happened. I mean, there's so much that we can talk about for Monday night Raw, but yeah, Paul Heyman, getting hit with the chair and then taking the curb stomp from Seth Rollins, the guy that he turned his back on, and then he gets put in the ambulance, and who's driving the ambulance but LA Knight? So it was just it was absolutely perfect.
You know something, Jonesy? And it just popped into my head while you were talking there a minute ago. All we need is Mick Foley and a half full box of chocolate and Mr. Sacco, and I think we would have put that whole segment way over top. So, but like I said, I mean, again, we got a lot more to talk about here on the High Spot segment. Again, Jonesy and I are kind of on the same wavelength. For how long, we don't know. But right now, let's go ahead and hit that sounder for our next High Spots question.
We got this. Okay.
Ooh, this is one, and I'm going to tell you folks, those who are watching the program right now, this is one that really got me aggravated, and I'm going to have to take a minute once I get done reading it to let Jonesy kind of talk about this first. At a recent international wrestling event, a female wrestler was powerbombed from a balcony onto a group of wrestlers below. It shouldn't say before, it should say below. Is this going too far? Jonesy, I'm going to throw this one to you because I got a lot on my mind when it comes to this question, but I'm going to throw this to you. I know you've seen it on a couple media outlets. What are your thoughts?
Oh my goodness. I think that this is an issue with professional wrestling right now. Is everybody is trying to outdo everybody else. They're all trying to do the next spot that's bigger than the previous spot. I don't see any reasoning why somebody would want to even agree to take a powerbomb off of a balcony. I'm definitely glad that everybody was able to catch her, because if one person had messed up, that could have ended really, really, really badly. And to the amount of faith that this woman had in the people below her and the person that was giving her that move is insane. Because I don't know about you, but I would have to really trust somebody to let them throw me off of a balcony like that, and trust the people who are going to catch me and not get injured. Yeah, it could have ended really, really badly. I'm glad that they were able to catch her, but yeah, it could have ended really, really badly.
Well, Jonesy, I'm going to put this out here right now. I've been around pro wrestling now, and actually, ironically, the next couple days, I'll be starting year 39 in this industry. And yeah, I am that old, guys. Don't think that it's me pulling your leg. I'm going to tell you right now, no. And there are several reasons why. And Jones, you hit a couple of them. One, I've seen too many bad things happen from situations like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people, I remember one, and again, I don't want to really give them a shout out, but I remember watching some of these like mistakes, botches, if you will.
Yeah.
And seeing people who are going for like elbow drops from 10, 12, 15 feet and never hit where they're supposed to be. I think about the idea of the likes of the man known as New Jack.
Mm-hmm.
When he was at when he was in Danbury, Connecticut, And because of Vic Grimes,
Mm-hmm.
he wound up losing his vision in one eye. He had long-term issues with constantly having headaches,
Mm-hmm.
going 3-4 days without sleeping. Here are my views, and take them for what you want. I mean, again, I'm very fortunate the Wrestle Talk podcast gives me this platform to kind of voice my concerns. Number one, what in the world would convince somebody that it's totally within reason to take somebody, pick them up over your head, not be able to see anything of where they're going?
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch the video online, you're going to see basically by the time that the other wrestler lets go, there is no way in the world. If something goes amiss, there is no way in the world that is going to wind up in anything less than a monstrous, and I'm going to dare say a deadly injury.
Yeah, 100%.
There is no way. And again, watching the video, it was about, I want to say between about a 15, 20-foot drop.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you go back, another prime example, Matt Hardy. I was wrestling at one time with Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
And missed the table entirely and knocked himself unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of those that he had control. He saw where he was going. He knew what was going to happen.
Oh.
But you put somebody who's going to have no clue until either those individuals catch her or she hits the floor.
Yep.
To me, I mean, again, we're pro wrestlers. We are paid to be a part of a contract wrestling performance. We are in that ring to compete against the very best in the world. When it comes down to it, to me, and I hope there's a lot of people who are going to be putting some messages out here in the chat in a little bit. To me, I look at it from the perspective of why would you risk not only your wrestling career, but your life in that situation. That's one of those where I just don't get it, man. Maybe it's because I'm getting a little bit older. Maybe it's because, as Tully Blanchard said, there's a kink in my neck, there's a kink in my back, but I wouldn't trade it in anything in the world. I'm going to tell you right now, no. This was, to me, this is one of those instances where, and again, going back to New Jack, him and Gypsy Joe, a few others as well, Matt Transit. To me, this is one of those, simply put, of where this went too far, and now we're going to be in a situation where what's next? That went okay. What's it going to take? Go up another level, add another 5-10 feet?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, there is no reason to have those kinds of things ready to go, because if you don't, again, bad things are going to happen, and I can't put two and two together, Jonesy. I really can't.
Yeah, you made a lot of good points in that. There are a lot of good points. Like, I don't see any reasoning why they would even need to do that spot. I'm just like I said, I'm just really glad that they were able to catch you and it didn't turn out bad, because it could have turned out really, really badly. But yeah.
All right. Well, like I said, we're here right now on the Wrestle Talk podcast. We're in the middle of the high spot segment. If you have comments, questions, anything you want to add, make sure to throw them out there in the chat so that we can go ahead and address your thoughts, your opinions, your questions here as it relates to the Wrestle Talk podcast. Let's go ahead here real quick and go to our next high spots question. All right, our next high spots question. Vince McMahon was recently shown ramming his luxury car into another driver at over 100 miles an hour. How does this and his recent exoneration impact him in the future? You know something, Jonesy? I know you're going to have some things that you want to say here, but I'm just going to make it real simple here as we look at this particular question and you look at this picture. You look at the picture that was on the screen. Vince McMahon has done entirely too many things for the professional wrestling industry. We need to let him be retired. He does not need to come back to the WWE. He doesn't need to be actively involved in the industry again. Yeah. And I'm just going to tell you, you can see from that picture, he looks disoriented. He looks confused. He looks, I mean, again, 100 miles an hour. Get you on that. But it's getting to a point now of where, I mean, he needs to be able to enjoy retirement. And this right here, and I even heard a few people say, oh, well, Vince McMahon's going to be the one in the box. No. I'm sorry to say this. We don't need any more of Vince McMahon. To me, I think we get one more appearance of Vince McMahon, and I think it's going to be when he officially becomes a part of the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
I think that is the only other time that we should see Vince McMahon on any kind of WWE programming. Jonesy, I don't know your thoughts, but to me, I think it's one of those situations where we've got to give him the credit and the break that we can to make this all work.
I totally agree. I can't tell you how many times I've seen recently somebody commenting and saying that Vince is trying to come back and to the WWE and trying to take it back again. And I'm like, he doesn't need to. Like, we don't need Vince McMahon to come back and take over WWE. Like he needs to just stay retired. And I agree that the next time we see Vince on WWE, it should be when he's inducted into the Hall of Fame, as he absolutely should be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The things that he's done with professional wrestling, from WrestleMania, he made one of the biggest wrestling events in the world, and it's still going on. We're at WrestleMania 40 something now?
Mm-hmm. Well, Jonesy, and I'm going to throw this one at you here, just food for thought. Are you surprised that the first contemporary, and again, we don't need a high spots sounder for this one. Are you surprised that the first member of the contemporary McMahon family to go into the WWE Hall of Fame is Stephanie McMahon?
With Triple H running, well, yeah. It does kind of surprise me, because I would have thought that if any of the McMahons went into the Hall of Fame first, it would have been Vince. So the fact that Stephanie is in the Hall of Fame before Vince is it's a little bit crazy, like maybe Vince doesn't want to go in the Hall of Fame yet. Maybe he doesn't want to go in the Hall of Fame at all. Maybe if Vince views it as, if he goes into the Hall of Fame, then that's it. He's, so maybe he's.
Well, something, Jonesy? Here's another one to look at it. Why not Shane McMahon before Stephanie? Shane went out there and has given so much. I mean, again, I think about that SummerSlam situation where he took, what was it, a 35, 40-foot fall?
Yeah.
Dropped the elbow on the likes of the Big Show. The match with Kurt Angle at King of the Ring. Shane's done a lot. And then turn around, he's doing all that stuff for media. And a long time, he figured he was going to be the heir apparent to the company. Again, there's a lot of things there. I agree with you in the idea that probably Vince should have been the first one in. But, again, it's one of those situations where it comes down to it of where I'm kind of surprised that Stephanie was the first, but you bring up a very valid point. Now, we're going to stay here with this for just a minute because I want to ask you this. Right now, we know we have three announced inductees, technically four.
Mm-hmm.
You have Stephanie McMahon, AJ Styles, and now Demolition is going into the Hall of Fame. My question is this, and just to give you an idea, Who inducts these individuals? Let's kind of take a minute here. Stephanie McMahon.
Triple H.
You know,
It's got to be your husband. Like,
I don't think so. You want to know what I think might go in?
who's that?
Trish Stratus.
Trish Stratus.
I mean, they had several good battles. I mean, again, they did have that WrestleMania match against one another. I mean, Triple H would be a natural fit. Another one that people might not see coming, maybe Shane.
Maybe. That would be good too.
The next one to look at, AJ Styles.
AJ Styles. If they, I would say if they could do it, the Good Brothers, I think that would be a good for them to come in, or somebody from TNA, like maybe, since WWE has a working relationship, like maybe Frankie Kazarian could induct AJ Styles.
You know, one that I would think would be actually kind of interesting to see if either of them would be there. The first one that pops into my head as a blast from the past would have been Jerry Lynn.
Oh.
But again, I know Jerry's under contract with the fine folks down in Jacksonville, so that's going to probably not be a reality. Another one, which I talked about a lot, why not Abyss?
Oh, that would be a good one.
A lot of great matches with Abyss. And one other wild card, but he's also under contract, would have been Double J.
Jeff, yeah.
A lot of great avenues here. Now the last one. This is one, I mean, again, I just saw it in the graphic. I don't think they actually did the formal announcement yesterday. If so, it was in passing. And actually, I'm going to go ahead while I've got you here. I'm going to go ahead real quick and look in the wonderful world of the 2026 Hall of Fame, according to the WWE. Who inducts Demolition?
Oh man, if there was, are there any tag teams that were there and they were still wrestling that would be able to induct them? I'm trying to think. That's a tough one. I don't know who would induct them. Like, who are you thinking?
Well, right now, as you said, there's a lot of teams that are not. There's a lot of teams, and actually, just going back and looking at, and again, I'm not going to sugarcoat. I'm going to say right now, going back and looking because of the little thing called Legends contracts. Going back and looking at the WWE roster today, because most of them will have the Legends contracts in here as well. Just kind of going through these here real quick. Do we look at the idea of somebody the likes of a Adam Pearce or a Nick Aldis? What are your thoughts on those, Joe?
I think that would definitely work. Somebody commented Harlem Heat, which would be Stevie Ray and Booker T. That would be a great How
about this one? And I know it's been done before. Why not either the New Day or, taking a page from another avenue, Big E?
That would work too. Or why not Bret Hart? Remember they had that big match at SummerSlam, the 2 out of 3 falls. So that would be somebody that was in the ring with Demolition. So
that is true, Jonesy. You know, one is kind of looking back through here, which just popped up here on the feed, and I think is something that would be very interesting. Why not Shawn Michaels?
Yeah, he was around during that time because of with the Rockers. That would be a great one.
Very,
Okay.
very true. Very, very true. Now, one thing I want to look at is this, and again, I know we still got about 7 weeks or so until Mania. Is there anybody right now, Jonesy, that you want to see go in this year?
Oh man, there's so many, but John Cena. But I think that if John Cena went in, that would overshadow everybody else in the Hall of Fame. Like that, he would have to be the headliner of the Hall of Fame. Kane would also be a good one.
Kane's already hit. Kane was in during the pandemic.
Was he?
Yeah. Kane. Now that could very well be the idea of where they might be talking about an inductor for the for Demolition, which would be a great one in itself. Maybe the Brothers of Destruction.
Maybe.
Since the Undertaker's been kind of being the, hey, guess what? You're going in the Hall of Fame guy. I mean, that's the case there.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of looking at some things here. One that I think would be definitely, and you're gonna really kind of scratch your head on this one, Joe. I might actually be able to throw this one out here. What are your thoughts about 2026, the induction of Bray Wyatt?
Oh, that would be a good one too. But again, that one would probably overshadow everybody. So that would have to be like because yeah.
I don't think so. And here's why. Personally, to me, and we're seeing some comments popping up here about too soon for Bray Wyatt. The question is, how long are we going to wait?
Yeah.
It's one of those situations to me. Bray Wyatt did a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't actually, again, you look at it, you look at things like his time as The Fiend. You look at his time as Husky Harris.
Mm-hmm.
You look at it, I believe one of his personas in FCW was Axel Mulligan. I mean, he went out there and he found a lot of things. And to this point, the Wyatt Six, it would be amazing to have Uncle Howdy, Bo Rotundo, Bo Dallas, however you want to call him, to be the one to naturally induct him. And the other one to look at, too, from what I've heard, again, I think he's getting better, but it's not a great situation, is, again, with the current situation with his dad, I know he wasn't in the best of health for a good long while. Maybe it's an opportunity before, I hope that something wouldn't happen to him, but the idea of where you get somebody who, to have that opportunity here, and the question they would ask if anybody were to say it was, would he deserved it if he had not passed? I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where he was so outside the box. There were so many things. And here's a crazy thing, and I want to kind of pose a counter question. Without the pandemic, does Bray Wyatt get in? Because a lot of Bray Wyatt's best stuff
was during the pandemic. Yeah.
Happened during the pandemic.
You are correct.
So, again, there's a lot of wild card questions in there. To me, I think that's a possibility. Another one, and you're going to think I might have gotten kind of hit in the melon. Why not Michael Cole?
Michael Cole would be another good one because, I agree. Michael Cole would definitely deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely. But there's one that we're forgetting, and this was mentioned last night. If he gets his way, Danhausen.
That's true. Danhausen got his picture.
Yeah, he got his Triple H point picture. So,
well, you know something though. Before Danhausen were to go into the Hall of Fame, Danhausen would have to get his blimp.
Yes.
And to give you an idea, he's been waiting on his blimp. And I remember because I watched this again this morning because Dave Honor did not give him his blimp. And as you saw the hashtag, get Danhausen his blimp, That needs to become something in WWE. Get Danhausen as Blimp. Again, Danhausen, love that Danhausen. Actually, true statement, the last wrestling t-shirt, and again, longtime wrestling personality, last t-shirt I bought was actually from my wife, and my wife bought it for me for Christmas. It was a Danhausen t-shirt. So, again, to give you an idea, love that Danhausen. And I got to tell you, that segment last night was gold.
Oh.
It's that simple. When he's sitting there, why is this wet?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was gold. I can't even remotely help you, man. That was gold. And Danhausen, and I've seen a lot of people too, Danhausen and R-Truth. Imagine how that conversation would go.
That's exactly what I was saying. When a lot of people were crapping on, Danhausen debuting and whatnot. I think it might be one of the high spots, but Danhausen was in the box in Elimination Chamber. Are you excited, or is this a letdown? My opinion for the whole box thing is it didn't matter who was in the box. If it wasn't Chris Jericho, it was going to be considered a flop to everybody. But last night, everybody's opinion to Danhausen changed because a lot of people are like, okay, this guy is pretty funny. And, I know who Danhausen is, and you know who Danhausen is, and you know how funny it's going to be when him and R-Truth get together. That's going to be absolute comedic gold. And here's
the crazy thing, Joe. Imagine when you have R-Truth, a man who should be in the WWE Hall of Fame, another one we can talk about here.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of where him taking that 20, 25 years of, you just look at some of the ones that R-Truth has put out there. The ladder in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
The idea of wrestling in the Women's Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of thinking that the tag team title match at WrestleMania was a ladder match or was an actual tag match. The idea of thinking Triple H was Tommaso Ciampa.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of great things, a lot of comedic gold by R-Truth. And if you can give Danhausen that opportunity to learn from him, oh my goodness, this could be one of the greatest things for WWE.
Yes.
And again, maybe some people are going to say I've gotten a little too many shots to the head. But Danhausen, to me, coming out of the box, I will say this. The idea of having all the dancers come with him was different.
It was.
I think the idea
was. But
the idea of him coming out with Michael Cole, the jar of teeth.
Yeah, if you think about it, though, it worked perfectly with Danhausen's character. Danhausen's character he's a comedy character. So everything he does is comedy. From the dancers coming out to the little pyro that came off of the top of the box to him getting into the ring and just doing a little thing, and then he disappeared, to last night him cursing Dominic Mysterio. And what happened? Dominic Mysterio lost the Intercontinental Championship last night to Penta, making Penta the first Mexican-born Intercontinental Champion. Yeah.
Well, something, Jonesy. Again, there's a lot of different ways. And that's one of the great things about the Wrestle Talk podcast. I believe the original question was talking about, I was trying to think here. We actually had to go back to it because we've gone from there to the Hall. It was from Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon to the Hall of Fame to Danhausen.
Yes.
It's kind of like one of those things that doesn't belong here. But again, that's one of the joys of the Wrestle Talk podcast is the idea that everything is taken care of here. Now, something, Jonesy? I want to look at something here. And bear with me here. I'm sending a message backstage. Because somebody who I really think would have a great input on this?
Who's that?
And number one, just to let you know, we're going to let a secret here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. Danhausen is the Night Owl's favorite wrestler.
He is. I did not know that.
He is. And secretly, another one that's out there, he wants to see Danhausen in the Snitch.
Yes, that would be great too. Danhausen and yes. See, I learned something about the Night Owl every day. I did not know that Danhausen was Night Owl's favorite wrestler. I'm gonna have to get the Night Owl a Danhausen t-shirt.
That is true. That is true, Jonesy. And you know something? And I'm just waiting here. You know something? When it comes down to it, I think that Corey Graves says it best when he talk about the idea of saying that the idea of Night Owl's respect for Danhausen is very, very impressive. Mister Soundman, can you go ahead and play that real quick here? And again, we don't in context. The Corey Graves sounder we got back there, that wasn't the right one.
No.
Do we have the Corey Graves one in there?
Very, very impressive.
I said we got the
very, very.
That's the Night Owl right there. He would say that right now about Danhausen.
No, I did not know that the Night
No
Owl's
question
favorite
to that.
wrestler was Danhausen.
And you know the bad thing is, Jones, when it comes down to it, probably tomorrow I can say it was well knowing you. My office got moved into the broom closet. But like I said, when it comes down to it, I had to share it. I mean, again, it's a big night here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. And we need to make sure our fans enjoy it. Mr. Man, go ahead, Jonesy.
I think that the Night Owl's love for Danhausen is almost as big as the Night Owl's love for Nikki Ash.
Yeah, that might very well be as well. Well, right now as it stands here, let's go ahead and hit another High Spots question here. We still got a couple more questions here on the High Spots tonight.
Okay, I cannot read that.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and read it for you, Jonesy, so you can get it taken care of. Dustin Rhodes made a comment. I believe this was on the Twitter machine. I was talking about things. He said, "Nope, I never got a raise there. What? You want me sitting the bench doing nothing? That ain't me anymore. I've done the best work of my career with AEW. I love the character Goldust, but he ran its course. I did what I was told, and it got me nowhere. No thanks." Is Dustin correct? That's a tough question, Jonesy. It really is.
That's really, really tough. I can't say that it got him nowhere, because I think that the WWE helped his career more than anything else has. Because before he became Goldust, how many people knew who Dustin Rhodes was? Not very many. I mean, a lot of people did, but he got most of his fame from being Goldust in the WWE. Would I love to see him back? Absolutely. Does he need to come back? No. The only way I could see him coming back would be for one reason only, and that would be to induct Cody Rhodes into the Hall of Fame.
Ooh. You know something, Jonesy? I think I wanna differ with you a minute.
Okay.
Do I think that Dustin Rhodes has done his best work in AEW? I don't. I almost want to say, and it's tough for me to say this, I almost want to say no.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why is there were so many great feuds in the WWE he had with that Goldust had.
Yeah.
The likes of being with fighting against Evolution, the team with Booker T, the idea of his tag teaming with R-Truth, his feuds with the likes of Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker and Razor Ramon and Roddy Piper.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there were a lot of great wrestlers in the 90s that he had To me, I think he's recaptured that. But the question is now with, I believe he had both knees replaced.
Yeah.
Due to his issues with the protostar Kyle Fletcher. But to me, I think if he could have found a way, and again, got to give him his props because he's in his 50s and still going like he's in his late 30s. But is it a situation where sometimes you got to you got to sit and wait because something good is going to come along. And I think Dustin's been very fortunate that when he sees something that's going to be beneficial to him, he capitalizes on it. And I mean, when you look at it, I mean, his run with, I believe at one point he was an ROH tag champion. You can't of credentials on their list.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you have that kind of a situation, again, it's a great idea here. We're actually getting a message here on the chat as well. We got a lot of great things still to come up in hour two. As we're taking care of that, real quick, before we get to our last question here, I want to give you a quick update here, and I looked at the graphic here. May 8th, May 9th, 2026 in Fairview Heights, Illinois, SICW Wrestling Fan Fest 4. A lot of names in here, and I'm not even going to look at just the SICW roster. Just looking at some of you have here. Sal Sincere, Iceman King Parsons, the Cuban Assassin, the Koloffs, Tommy Rich, Doug Gilbert, the Memphis Mafia, the Powers of Pain, Carmine Espirito, Theodore Long, Baron Von Raschke, Bobby Fulton, Austin Idol, the Family of Harley Race, Reggie B. Fine, Andrew Anderson, Johnny Rods, D'Lo Brown. Recently announced Hall of Famers Demolition will be in the house. Yes. Dan Severn, Haku, I believe Carlito, Mickey James, the Rock and Roll Express, Cowboy Bob Orton, Buff Bagwell, just to name a few. A lot of great wrestlers that are going to be there. And if you're anywhere near the greater St. Louis area, the greater Fairview Heights area, you need to make a point, check them out May 8th and May 9th as part of SICW Fan Fest 4. Shout out to Herb Simmons. I know the man is extremely busy between that, the Tragos Thesz Hall of Fame, the CAC. He's constantly on the go. And again, props out to Herb for putting another great fan fest together. I think right now we got time for one more High Spots question here this evening. So let's go ahead and roll. Ooh, great question here to wrap up High Spots here tonight. Given their recent string of injuries, what is the future of the Vision? Jonesy, I'm going to start this one off because I've got an opinion here.
Okay.
To me, I think the injuries wind up taking the Vision off the rails. I don't foresee the Vision lasting too much longer.
Yeah.
And here's why. When Braun Breaker comes back, he's going to be at the top of the list. When you have Bronson Reed come back, he's going to be back better than ever.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about it, we've got two individuals that are there. Plus, you've got the idea of, and hold on one second here. You know that Austin Theory, Logan Paul are going to be two wrestlers that are going to be at the top of the list for a very long time to come. I think the biggest thing right now is you need somebody like a Paul Heyman with them.
Mm-hmm.
I think Braun Breaker by himself would be okay. I think Bronson Reed would be okay by himself. But to me, I think right now, if you can find a way to keep Paul Heyman with Logan Paul and with Austin Theory, you've got 4 main event quality wrestlers there.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with you. It's wild to think. Where would the vision be right now if Bron Breakker hadn't gotten injured? If Bronson Reed hadn't gotten injured? I think that the main thing that was going to happen was I think that the Usos were going to end up facing Logan Paul and Austin Theory at WrestleMania, and I think that Seth Rollins was going to end up facing Bron Breakker at WrestleMania. Of course, that went off of the rails, so now we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if Seth Rollins is going to be facing Logan Paul, and maybe he's going to be tag teaming with the Usos. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, you know something, Jonesy? When you sit here and you look at the situation right now, and it goes back to WrestleMania 40 and the WWE's behind the curtain look at things. And you're not sure how this is all going to play out because you got a Seth Rollins, you got a Cody Rhodes, you got a Roman Reigns, you got a Rock. You've got all these people, and any little thing can make a change here. And when it comes down to it, I think that this year's WrestleMania is going to be better because of it. Because what you're looking at right now is you have so many avenues. If you have Logan Paul and Seth Rollins, you got money right here, right now. I think right now, if you put Seth Rollins and an Austin Theory together, you're building for the future.
Yeah.
I think Logan Paul is the here and now. But when it comes down to it, I look at it from a perspective of the idea of when it comes down to it, this level. I truly do. I think Seth Rollins is that guy. Now, you brought up another one, Jonesy, the Usos. I heard somebody today say something that maybe we're going to see at least the teaser for another installment of the Bloodline. Not long term, but the idea, you hear a lot of how, Roman Reigns is all by himself.
Yes.
To give you an idea, there are countless people who are going to have Roman's back. And I want to tell you right now, to me, in that case, that match to me, I heard somebody say that they need to throw down before Mania. I don't think so. The one thing I got to tell you right now that I've seen, and I really hope in some facet or another, and hopefully you're finding it while you're up and about, Joe. I think after the Elimination Chamber, why do I have this feeling that I think we're going to see Nick Aldis at WrestleMania?
Maybe. Because, Nick, Aldis. I could see him at WrestleMania, but who would he face?
To me, to be honest with you, and again, let's just kind of weigh this out here. I mean, we're going to be talking fantasy draft. It's kind of where we're at right now, Jonesy. I mean, we're a little bit ahead of the game, but let's weigh the options, shall we? The idea of the obvious. Cody Rhodes is able to defeat Drew McIntyre, wins back the title. That sets up Cody and Randy at WrestleMania. That also sets up a theory that would set up Drew McIntyre and Nick Aldis potentially at WrestleMania. Another one you could look at would be, do we see the idea of a triple threat match at WrestleMania?
I think it's going to be a fatal four-way.
Then who's our fourth?
I think it's going to be Cody Rhodes. I think it's going to be Drew McIntyre. I think it's going to be Randy Orton and Jacob Fatu.
Ooh.
I think
You know,
that
I
on
think
Friday, my prediction is on Friday during the championship match between Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes, Jacob Fatu is going to show up. He's going to interfere. That's going to screw that match. And then at WrestleMania, we got a fatal four-way for the championship.
Well, you know something, Jonesy? And again, I just want to kind of throw another caveat out here. Who's to say that Jacob Fatu doesn't come in and continue the story, to steal a line from Cody Rhodes, with Cody Rhodes? You get another match with Cody and Jacob Fatu.
Yeah,
you get another match with Orton and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, but at this point, they have to have Jacob Fatu against Drew McIntyre. With as much as Drew McIntyre has been screwing over Jacob Fatu, and every week, Nick Aldis is saying, you're going to get your shot at Drew. You're going to get your shot at Drew. Just don't do anything stupid. And Jacob Fatu says, I'm not going to be waiting much longer. I think it's setting up a four-way. That's just my opinion.
Well, you know something, Jonesy? What about the idea of earlier in the night or night one, you have Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu. Night two, you have Jacob Fatu kind of break the silence here and then get all up in Drew McIntyre's business.
Maybe. Anything can happen. It's professional wrestling. Anything can happen.
That is true, Jonesy. That is true. And like I said, we're going to be moving on here in just a minute. We're going to be talking about all of our great sponsors here in just a moment. I do want to take a minute here, and before we move on to the fantasy draft, I want to give a little bit of input here. I know we've been talking about a lot of things here, and we're getting our tech people are backstage trying to do everything they can to get things ready for tonight. I want to give a shout out to the great people over at the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, who've put together another great induction class for the 2026 class of the Hall of Fame. Now, to give you an idea here, as we look at it, it's going to be held, and a matter of fact, I'm pulling it up. And again, if you go onto your social media accounts and you look at things here, the key thing is type in Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. If you want to type up the website, istlwhof.com, you can pull that up. To give you an idea here, it is on Sunday, July 19th from 12:30 to 5, Andres Banquet Hall in St. Louis, Missouri. From top to bottom, it's a great night of professional wrestling, history, interaction. Last year, I believe there were 7 or 8 different promotions that were represented in the house. Give you an idea, and I just want to go back and look at some of the names that are going to be going into this year's Hall of Fame class. And we've made some announcements of who all is going in. We've got, and bear with me just a minute here. I'm actually watching the video as we speak. And again, a shout out to the folks at the Hall of Fame for putting together a great induction class. You have Black Glove Butch Fletcher, a man well known as an accomplished referee and manager. You've got the late Marcus Mansfield, former guest of the Wrestle Talk podcast. One of the President's Awards this year will be going to Johnny Ramirez, accomplished wrestler and referee. You've got the Beast, another guest of the Wrestle Talk podcast, going in as a part of the class of 2026. The Pete Parisi Award going to Tom Simon, longtime friend of the show. The second President's Award going to the valedictorian Keon Option. You would be remiss in St. Louis wrestling if you didn't have Big Bad Ben in the class of 2026. And you also have Steve Montana, who's also going to be a part of the class of 2026. And I'm going to tell you right now here, Jonesy, it's going to be a great night of professional wrestling discussion, acknowledging these individuals. Mm-hmm. And the cool thing about it all, other than the fact that the tickets are very reasonably priced, is the idea, as well as all the great sponsors of the Wrestle Talk, or of the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. You've got the Wrestle Talk podcast. You've got, and I'm just going to go through Wrestle Talk podcast, the MMWA, St. Louis Wrestling, St. Louis Championship Pro Wrestling, New Genesis Wrestling, The Camera Guy, Interstate 70 Sports Media, Doomed Outfitters, a lot of great sponsors that are still coming along here with the program. If you get an opportunity and you're in the St. Louis area, you cannot and will not be disappointed, and you cannot miss this event. Again, for more information, you can even purchase your tickets at the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame website. Again, great night of professional wrestling, history and legacy being taken care of on Sunday, July 19th. Now, to talk the first ever Wrestle Talk podcast fantasy draft. Now, Jonesy, I'm going to throw this to you.
Okay.
We talked about this last week. I know that I've done my research on several different promotions.
Mm-hmm.
My question to you is this. What promotion would you say that you are going to act as their general manager or owner of tonight?
I would say I have more knowledge with WWE than anything else. So I would say WWE. That's what I had the most knowledge with.
All right. Well, tell you what. Since you're going to be a WWE guy, I'm going to go ahead and represent the other side of the coin for now. And that is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to represent the fine folks over at AEW.
Okay.
Now, here's what's going to happen. Everybody on your roster is available. And what it's going to be is each side is going to get 5 to offer draft changes.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about it. We're going to see what we feel and see if it's something that we can agree upon as general managers.
Okay.
Since you want to talk about the WWE, I'm going to go ahead and go first.
Okay.
And here is my view. And I'm going to shock a lot of people right here.
Okay.
Right off the bat. I would go, and I'm offering this to you. Heads up. Jet Speed for the Street Profits. I think it's one of those. I think Jet Speed very soon is going to wind up getting buried in AEW. Both Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight are both young. They've got a wealth of knowledge.
Okay.
And I hate to say it, but I think the Street Profits right now, we haven't seen them in a while. And I don't know right now if they're going to be coming back at the same level as before they left.
Okay. You know, I can actually agree with that. I would agree wholeheartedly with that. The Street Profits for Jet Speed. Okay. I could deal with that. But we have another guest that is going to be joining us.
Okay.
So let me go ahead and bring on this guest. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this guy has been a part of the podcast for I don't know how long. He is the official for the Wrestle Talk podcast, Mr. Perry Hartman.
Man, what are you guys doing?
How's it going?
Oh,
Hey,
man, I have
Gary.
missed you. You have no idea, man. It has been so insane, and I'm just thankful that even now, because if you don't do your homework, your home don't work, right? So I was doing my homework, and all of a sudden I clicked. I said, okay, I think it's time. And I just want to say that it is just a privilege and a pleasure to be back on the Wrestle Talk podcast.
Oh, man. You know, Big Daddy, it's one of those, I haven't got a chance to see you for a good long while, and always having you as a part of the program, it's awesome. I know you've been around the world. I've been around the world. The Night Owl's been that way. Jonesy has been that way. I gotta tell you right now, man, you are, I mean, you're all over the place, man. I mean, can you take a minute here? I know we've talked about it. You've had a few episodes as of late. From my understanding is you've also kind of jumped into the podcast world as a, I guess would say another program of the Essential Enterprises
You know,
network. Can you?
Oh, he locked up. Oh, there
No, I think we're all good. Can you talk about your recent endeavor here, Big Daddy?
Are you talking about the Honor Thy Chaplains?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got like 6 new projects, and I'm not. I wish I could exaggerate, but what you know when everything is just going right, and you don't want it to stop.
Yeah.
Well, 2026, without a doubt, hands down, has been a really, really great year health-wise, because after the heart issue, I've been in cardiac rehab. I'm on a treadmill. I'm down in weight. My diet has changed. But I've been so busy with these projects. And the Honor of Thy Chaplains, I found out about 6 months ago that I had a third cousin that was a Confederate soldier. I was born and raised in LA. So why would I have a relative that was a Southern Confederate? I just never in my wildest dreams. So when I found out, I couldn't understand. Okay, Lord, well, you have me so busy. What's the purpose here? And come to find out, there are 840 camps for the Sons of Confederate Veterans, and they have chaplains. And these chaplains need someone to encourage them and love on them. And who better than Big Daddy P? Really? I mean,
Absolutely.
So it's been a learning experience because I wasn't familiar with the Civil War, so I wasn't familiar with all of that, so it's been an education, but it's been wonderful. And the teachings have doubled and tripled, and I still do snippets of truth every week. I was doing Daily Dose of Truth, and then I just got a new one, which was your daily deposit. I don't know where these things come from. Like, I got time. So then I said, wait a second, I can't do both. So anyway, that's in a nutshell what's been going on. But I've been wanting on, man, and also plus the American Greetings stuff. I also work for American Greetings, and now we went through Valentine's Day. So all the cards have to be switched over in $14 generals and Kroger and Five Below. On top of my full-time business, website design, book publishing, and now, as you actually just hit on, this is the first time a public announcement about this for Painter's Dream Productions, podcast production. It's a blast, and it's so affordable to help people start with nothing. It doesn't take much of my time. Training takes an hour, but outside of that, and then they get to fly and do and it's such a blessing to watch people. Because, guys, we've been doing podcasts for a long time.
Okay.
So, to the fact that we get to watch all of these things blurt out, and it's just wonderful.
Okay.
And you know something, Perry? I mean, again, that's one of those where when you talk about things, you talk about Big Daddy P, he has so many things he's knowledgeable of. You want to talk podcasts? That's him. You want to talk websites? And again, shout out. You don't believe how good this man is? Check out the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame website. This man has been a very big driving force behind it. He's been helping us get everything taken care of. And again, hands down, probably the best website, or one of the best. I won't go that far because there's several others that are in the same category as far as having information. But when you want to talk about history of pro wrestling, you want to talk about knowledge of the sport of pro wrestling, I would put the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame website up against anybody. And right now, one of the key figures behind that is the one, the only Big Daddy P. And again, 2026 has been really popping for Big Daddy. Now, Perry, I know that this is kind of bringing all the good feelings down here a bit. But since the last time we've talked, and I'm a level man, it's been rough in my household. Since the last time I was on the program, and actually Was the reason why I wasn't really on as much last month. My father-in-law passed away. We knew he wasn't doing well, but the suddenness of him passing away a little over a month ago, basically we had from knowledge to passing was like 7.5 days. And then we had just gotten that taken care of, and my wife's great aunt passed away. Actually, we're going this weekend to the memorial service for that. Like I said, 2026 has been tough in our part of the universe. You always keep things in the know. You're a very knowledgeable individual, man. I respect very much, and that's one of those where just to keep the family in the thoughts. Also, without mentioning names, I got a very good friend of mine who's about ready to welcome, if they're not already here, getting ready to welcome their second grandchild into the world. I mean, literally, it could be any time now. I know, like you said, we talk about outside the business of professional wrestling. As of about 3:00 this afternoon, they said it was going to be any time now. So hopefully, another new life has been brought into the world. Again, lots of ups and downs here, but I just wanted to share those with you. Jonesy, do you have anything that you want to add or share? Because I know you've had a lot of things going on in the last few weeks as well.
Nope, I'm actually good.
Yeah. See that? Hey, listen. Not every day's the same. Some days are better than other days. Some days are tougher. The question is, what do you do with them? Because, I mean, how many people who thought they were going to have dinner tonight are not? They're face to face with the Lord. They're done. Their work is complete. And here we are. We're stuck here. So that's why it's all about encouragement. That's why it's all about honor. I think the Hall of Fame website, Luke, what makes it so great is that, again, honor. It's all about honor. And this business, we haven't talked about wrestling. We haven't talked about a lot of things, but I absolutely love the business. All the way across the board from beginning to end. I don't care what anybody says about Triple H. I love professional wrestling. And we get to watch. I don't know how weird it'll be to watch WrestleMania knowing it's not going to be in the States next year. That's a bit of a doozy that I'm kind of like messing with, but I understand it's not the same business anymore. It is an international business, and as long as there's peace, it'll be fine. And because Saudi Arabia is stepping up and doing their thing, I think there'll be peace. And I think all of this is all centered around peace. And I think we could just have an episode alone on prophecy and everything, right? Because it's crazy now. All the conspiracy theories, all the stuff that's out there. You know, out of all of it, what hasn't changed? The Lord, the one who runs it, hasn't changed. We're the same circus, different tent, different generation. But we, fortunately, have this opportunity through communications that we can talk to people all over the world, and we can exist to people 3,000, 6,000, 10,000 miles away. And I think it's just wonderful. And the business independently is doing great too. I mean, all the way across the board, I think pro wrestling is doing great.
You know, Perry,
I wasn't sure about the coffin though. I haven't heard any of the hot spots or anything you guys have been talking about. But definitely looking forward to WrestleMania this year.
Yeah. I can tell you right now, Perry.
Go ahead.
Well, you know, one thing to look at, Perry, is the idea of where we talked about it earlier on. Two things you can take from hour number one. Number one, the hashtag Get Danhausen as Blimp is still there. It's only been 5 or 6 years, but that's still there. And two, I know you were backstage just as we announced it, that we kind of shared with the viewers that Danhausen secretly is the Night Owl's favorite wrestler. So we kind of just put those out there. And there you go.
In the past, I've said things on this show about certain wrestlers, and people laughed and people said things. And one of them was my criticism towards Henry. Okay. But then I got into the independent scene to see what he did and saw his creativity with his promos and his introductions. And then I watched him, and now I know why he appeared on WrestleMania. When I saw him on WrestleMania, that pretty much shut me the hell up, because at that point, and now even this AEW character that I hate to say it, I'm not familiar with his gimmick. To me, it started off extremely poor, but I've trusted the WWE this long, and so they see something that I don't. Yeah. So my job is to go, okay, what am I missing? And I think the more videos and things come out, the more I'll get familiar with them. But it just seemed I thought Vince was back. Honestly, I thought this gimmick, Vince is back. Clearly, that was my indicator over anything in the last 5 years.
Well, you know something, Perry? One thing to look at as well is the idea of when you sit here and you talk about Danhausen. I made the comparison. R-Truth for the next 25 years.
Okay.
So
that's the gimmick, in other words. He's humorous. He brings humor, which we need.
Very, very much so.
Yeah.
Because
Grayson Waller doesn't have it. He doesn't have the humor at all. He's trying really hard, and they're trying to do everything, but they're just still. And then putting him with the New Day, which was fine, but he's just still. I thought he was the one in the black mask. I was hoping it was him, because that would have really put him over and make him a Paul Heyman guy. That would do it, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, Perry, I just want to throw it this way, and I go back to the old ROH idea. Any man who brings in a container of teeth and actually has enough mindset. I remember the ROH interview with him. He pours the teeth in somebody's mouth. It's a distraction, but it's a legal distraction.
I didn't know it was teeth at first. I'm like, what did he give him?
Yeah, it's a jar of teeth.
That's disgusting, but anyway.
It's a legal distraction.
No. It got my attention.
And that's one of the things.
And you guys remember when I mentioned Red Velvet and everyone laughed at me? You remember that? And now look at her. Is she not the ROH Women Champ still, or did she lose it already?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think she's ROH's Women's Champion now.
Well, you know what? We can go ahead and actually take it farther here.
I saw something in her in the very beginning, and she was doing really well in AEW, and then I think either got injured or disappeared, and then all of a sudden she appeared on Ring of Honor, and I'm like, aha, because she's very well-rounded. Very well-rounded.
Very true, Perry. Well, like I said, we don't want to keep you too long, but we have a couple things. One, we need you to take care of a little bit of business for us. We do each and every episode on the Wrestle Talk podcast. And then two, as a part of this fantasy draft, we want your insight on our first trade this evening. So before we get too much farther along, we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn things over to you to take care of things as relates to one of the probably the more important parts of the Wrestle Talk podcast each and every episode. So Perry, if you'd be so kind to take a minute and kind of share some words of wisdom here this evening.
Communication with God is a 4-letter word. And it's not yeet, but it is this, just not yeet. It's pray. It's communicating. It's talking to God. And I think that a lot of people, they're afraid to talk to him because they think he's too busy for them, that they're not valued enough, that they don't want to take the Creator's time because he's busy. But they are the reason why he does what he does. And so having an opportunity to petition heaven on behalf of whoever needs it, because we all have different needs. We all wear masks. We all say everything is all right when things might not be all right, and that's okay. But it's the realness and genuineness that God's looking for. He's not looking for us to try and impress him, because you can't impress a perfect God. But what you can do is you can continue to love one another, continue to encourage one another, because we already know that the root of hate is just evil. but some of the people that we've been the closest with hurt us the greatest. And so it can become very confusing having a relationship with your creator because you just don't know what to expect. And the book is so big that a lot of people don't want to read it. So God brings someone like me to keep it simple, to drop it like it's hot, to keep it so simple that anybody can understand it. So the snippet of truth tonight, again, comes down to one word: real. He wants us to be real with him. When we're hurting, he wants to hear about it. Yes, he knows about it, but he wants us to turn to him. He said, whosoever calls upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. That doesn't just mean eternal life. That means in everyday life, every day when things are difficult, he says, turn to me. And for the last 25 years, Painter's Dream Production has been around 25 years. My relationship as a Christian has been 25 years. It's parallel. So we are one quarter into this. And the advice and wisdom that I have is to be real with him. Be real. Just be yourself. If you act the way you were made, you'll do just fine. If you try to act like somebody else or try to impress, it doesn't work. Now, you want to pray?
Let's go ahead and take care of it, Perry. Your words have been ringing true all night long. So let's go ahead and I turn things over to you, my friend.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for opening up this time to encourage, never to judge, never to condemn, for we are seed sowers, not soil protectors. And I just ask that now that as we would go to look at each other and to identify each other and to see that all of us fall short, that to inspect each other's soil, as much as we might want to do it, Father, is not right. You've called us to encourage people with your word. And so I just thank you that we can come before you. I thank you that you continue to open every door that needs to be open, close every door that needs to be closed, for all the hurt and pain in 2026 that anybody that might be listening has experienced. We know that you've got a great plan. Just as you have a plan in life, you always have a plan in death. And losing people is not easy. We all lose people every day. And I just pray that you would comfort anybody who's listening right now, that our love and encouragement towards one another would be a reflection of who you are. And so I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you that you give us the energy and strength to do this, to show compassion and love in times such as these. And while everybody's focusing on what's going to happen, Father, I know your word tells us to look at now. Pay attention to now. On your known will, not the unknown will, but your known will, what you tell us in your word. And so I thank you that we can come before you with basketfuls of thanksgiving. And I love you. And I thank you for the Wrestle Talk podcast, that you continue to strengthen each and every member, each and every person that's involved with it, that you would continue to send people from the north, from the south, from the east, and from the west to be a part of this, because you know the joy and peace and laughter and fun that it brings. And we need that now. We need things to remind us about how fun and enjoyable this life can be. I thank you so much, and I love you, and I ask these things by the power of the Holy Spirit, in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, in whose name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, Perry, you're going to be taking a part once again in wrestling history here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. We actually just had our first draft pick right before you came on the program. The current offer is as follows. I'm representing AEW. Jonesy's representing the WWE. I offered Jet Speed for the Street Profits. Your thoughts?
I would probably say, the Street Profits.
I was saying the trade is that if he says yes, the Street Profits would go to AEW, Jet Speed would go to the WWE.
Yeah.
Do you think it's something that would be fair to you?
I think so.
I agree.
But again, I see things, first of all, what they've done with them, with Street Profits. There's too many opportunities that they've missed that I can count on probably both hands where I thought that they could have done something different and they didn't. And I just don't know. They haven't even. They were supposed to boost Bianca's man, Montez. He was supposed to get boosted a couple of years, like 2 years ago, and he only went so far and it stopped. So I'm all about new blood, man. I want to see. I absolutely love the process of where these people are coming in, and we are so blessed to be able to see NXT and to be able to see AEW and TNA and Ring of Honor and all this talent that's being shuffled, because they're all doing the same thing. I mean, they're all having a passion and desire for pro wrestling. So I just think that the Street Profits definitely could do better in AEW than they're doing in WWE.
All right, you heard it from Big Daddy P. Jonesy, I'm gonna put it out there. Do we agree to it?
Oh, absolutely. Thumbs up.
All right. Well, you heard the first draft as it was said there. The Street Profits in our fantasy draft go to AEW. Jet Speed goes to the WWE. Now, while I got Big Daddy P here, I'm going to throw the second one from Team AEW. Here it is, Jonesy. I'm willing to offer you. Actually, no. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to tell you what I want.
Okay.
I want Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch.
Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch.
I will give you Marina Shafir, Roderick Strong, and Darby Allin.
I don't think I would. Nah.
A young Darby, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got maybe a couple years, if that, left. So no way. I don't know.
I will counter offer you, sir.
Okay, let's see what you want to say there.
This is a counter offer. Now, this might ruffle a bunch of feathers, but I would give you Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes for Hangman Page and MJF.
Oh, there you go. Wow. Now,
Jonesy, if any time for technology to cut out, I have a funny feeling this was the right time. Go ahead and repeat your offer.
I would give you Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes for Hangman Page and MJF.
No.
No?
My view is I think right now that Page and MJF are still pillars of AEW.
For sure.
And to me, I think the house doesn't stand if you don't keep those two on the roster. So we agree to disagree. And that's totally fine with our fantasy draft. Third one. And you're going to find this strange, Perry. I think you may fall out to share. Another trade. Heads up. Alexa Bliss for Tony Storm.
You know what? Alexa Bliss has done practically everything she could possibly do in the WWE. I would take that deal. It would give Alexa Bliss some new challengers, and it would give Tony Storm some new challengers. So, because both of them have done pretty much everything that they can do in their promotion. So that would make sense to me. Perry, what do you think?
I can't stand Tony Storm. I liked her when she was Nikki Sixx, when she first came out. I love that. Everything else, all the melodramatic horse crap, I can't. Not for me. I love Alexa. I think Alexa's got. And then what's going to happen is her because she's a mom now, she's on a pretty heavy schedule, even being a mom. So I think her child is with her, maybe. I don't know. But I can tell you she still is very young, very healthy, very energetic. And I think that, Tony Storm to me is, I'm just not into that. I'm not into Monet either. So, I mean, that's just, again.
I could see that for you, Perry. I genuinely can. Now, the fourth one is going to be another one from me that I think when it comes down to it, I think that Joe might be a little bit surprised. I'm going to offer you another 2 for 1. I want Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae.
Mm. Okay.
I will give you Mark Briscoe.
Ooh. You know,
Harry, your thoughts? Because
I take that bet. Can't stand those two either. They're just, to me, even him lying down flat was kind of funny. But outside of that, he doesn't do it for me either. So, and Candice LeRae, I'm shocked she's still with the WWE, honestly. I mean, she's a filler. It's sad too, because I just think that there's so many talented females right now.
I would agree to that deal. I think that like I said, it'll give them some more matches that they haven't seen yet, and it gives Mark Briscoe, some more matches as well. So I would agree.
Okay.
I fell in love with Mark Briscoe just for his rawness, and it's tough, man. Tough.
And the last one from AEW. And this one, Joe, I think you need to be ready. Heads up, 1 for 1. Finn Balor for Bandito.
Finn Balor for Bandito. Oh my gosh.
Could you imagine how your WWE roster would be with Bandito's innovative style being another piece of the WWE puzzle? Finn Balor's done a lot, but right now as it stands, him and the Judgment Day, to me, that's old news. I think he needs something to refresh himself. They're not going to put him back as the Demon anytime soon. Let him go back to being the real rock and roller, and let him be a part of the AEW roster.
Okay. I could agree with that. Perry, what do you think?
Oh, poor Finn. Ever since the injury, he was the first undisputed champion, man, right? For Universal. He was the first one.
Yep.
And he went cold ever since. And I thought the Judgment Day, the whole purpose with Finn was to get JD up. And I think JD overperformed over anyone in the Judgment Day, outside of course, Liv Morgan.
Well, then I want to put
money all the way across the board.
Then what are your thoughts about the movement forward of one Dom Mysterio?
Well, I figured eventually he was going to have to go for a bigger belt than the one he had. He all of a sudden, the AAA, they pushed that up so that was all just to get AAA up and get the audience bigger for them, which they succeeded in. I just don't know how much of that style. When you mentioned Bandito, I haven't seen much of him, but I think he's like another Penta, right?
More or less.
So Penta, Ray Phoenix. I think that's wearing. It's almost like the Samoan Dynasty is kind of getting it. Also, there's this hint of we've seen it and done it. So.
Well, you got to look at it too, though, Perry. Look at it from the idea. I mean, again, if you're looking at building a AAA style roster, I mean, you got, and again, just looking at it, you've got Penta, you've got Ray Phoenix, you've got, you would have Bandito, you have Mystery Iguana, who's really been making some.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to make the to make the roster. I mean, not just the WWE roster better. It would make places like AAA better. And if for some reason the AAA or the WWE is not there, I mean, you've got NXT, you've got Evolve. That he could even go down there to get some, I don't want to say seasoning because I think Bandito is ready now. But I mean, again, it's one of those that he's not going to be an immediate draw to your WWE roster. You've got a lot of the lower level developmental promotions or sister promotions that he could go to and be a huge benefit. So
there's a lot to pick from today.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. Very true.
Last Legend, money. I thought B-Fab was going to be money, but then I saw her in the ring, and there's just I was shocked Maxine Dupree, man, to turn around in her, how they pushed her, right? You know what I mean? Do I think she's any stronger than she's ever been? A little bit. She's got a lot more moves, but again, we've got such a wide variety now of talent. It's incredible, man. So much to watch, not enough time.
Yeah.
Very true. Very, very true. So, Jonesy, right now, you've made some pretty good offers.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's turn it around. Let's see if I open the doors to AEW.
Okay.
Let's see what you want to propose to me.
Well, my first trade would be I would give you Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch for Swerve Strickland and Tekla.
Ooh. I'm going to tell you right now, with what's there, I'm at least going to entertain it,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to throw a counter here.
Okay.
And that is, if you're going to take Swerve Strickland, who the WWE already had,
Mm-hmm.
and Tekla,
Mm-hmm.
I think what I want is I think that I would want everything that's on the table and Akira Tozawa.
Oh, so you want Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, and Akira Tozawa. Ooh.
What's he doing?
Okay.
I'm sorry to say it. I think the Alpha Academy ran its course 2 years ago.
Okay.
Otis
he was just brilliant. Where was he at? He was he had some kind of a match or something. I don't know if it was with Obafemi or who, but it was brilliant. I don't know who that was, but whoever he wrestled last, I think that I saw, was the best work he's ever done.
So, Jonesy, I'm going to put it to you, man. I mean, you're getting two guaranteed top-notch wrestlers.
Okay. I would take that deal. 100%. You can have Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, and Akira.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I think I can roll with that. Go ahead and bring me another proposal.
The next proposal, and I'm sure that you're probably not going to agree to this. This is just throwing it out there. But stable for stable, I would give you the Wyatt Six for the Don Callis family.
Why don't I give you half the roster?
This is true. This is one of the issues I have with the Callis family, is that it seems like it's just a faction that they just throw anybody into for no rhyme or reason.
Well, you know what? Based on the values that you have there, here's my counter proposal. You want to go faction for faction? I'll do it. If you give me the Usos.
Ooh. Again, the Usos have done
I want the
everything.
Wyatt Six and the Usos.
You know? I mean, with the Don Callis family, I would get Takesha. I would get Kyle Fletcher. I would take that deal. 100%. What do you think, Perry?
I agree 100%. I'd take that deal.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talent there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, honestly, I could still have a good amount to when you start looking at the tag team division in AEW, and you look at the idea that both of those individuals could be both singles and tag team wrestlers. And again, we've seen the tease of having Eric Rowan in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
The idea, I think, Bo Dallas would be a great add-in to it. Joe Gacy, could you imagine the matches with him and somebody the likes of Eddie Kingston? Or if they brought him back in, going back to another situation, him and Nick Gage. Back to the CZW mentality. And you would throw Nikki Cross, somebody who's been greatly underutilized in AEW. And you get Sam Shaw, who I think is another greatly underused talent in the Wyatt Six. So I'd be willing to go there, because then the question to you, Joe, becomes, what are you going to do with them all?
This is true.
You got so many people on the roster. Are you going to go ahead and absorb them to bench some of your tried and tested competitors?
This is true. This is true. I didn't think about that. But
So,
yeah.
I mean, again, that's the way I would look at it. I mean, again, and just to let you know, I would have the heat.
The heat. This is true.
So, thus far right now, Nightmare Jones has been doing some reflecting here. You still got 3 more on there, boss. Let's see where you want to roll.
Oh my gosh. 3 more. You know, I would give you Rhea Ripley for Chris Statlander.
Oh, no. I'm gonna tell you flat. I'm gonna tell you right now. You went to the bank on me. If you want Stat, and this is how much confidence I have in Statlander, you're gonna give me Rhea Ripley. You're gonna give me Natty. And you're going to give me Adam Pearce.
Oh. See, I don't know if Chris Statlander would be both, at Adam Pearce and Natalia. Like, that's oh man.
Well, that's on top of Rhea Ripley.
On top of Rhea Ripley, yeah. Wow.
I get where you're going. I get your vision. But you're taking away one of very, very much the future of AEW. When Britt Baker,
Rowan Britt Baker. That was what I was just going to say.
When Britt Baker basically leaves,
here's the deal.
Yeah, when Britt Baker basically leaves AEW, you're taking away another one of my up and coming future main event women's roster.
Give them Nikki Bella. Let him have Nikki.
You drive a hard bargain, but I would give me Chris Statlander and Britt Baker for who you wanted, and I would take it. Because Britt Baker hasn't really been doing anything in.
And there's a reason for that. The question is, what is it? That's the big question mark is, why isn't she working? Is it because she doesn't want to work, or because she doesn't have to work?
That is true. You know what? Since you're going to put this way, I'll make a little bit of a change.
Okay.
I'll counter proposal that. I'll give you, because technically I believe she's still on the roster, Britt Baker and Chris Statlander. 4. I'll take Pierce off the list.
Okay.
For Rhea Ripley and Natty and Damian Priest.
Ooh. I you drive a hard bargain, but I would take it.
I think that would work because when it comes down to it, granted, it's a different inclination of ROH, but Damian Priest did something then when he was Punishment Martinez. Former guest of the show, I might add, showing the Wrestle Talk history here. But I think it's one of those that's where we're at. So, Jonesy, you got two more.
Two more.
I'm gonna throw this at you right now. I'm gonna put the cart before the horse on this one. Heads up, what would it take for me to get Adam Pearce on AEW?
To get Adam Pearce in AEW. Well, Adam Pearce doesn't wrestle anymore, right? So, I mean, are we talking about him wrestling or just as like a general manager?
That's for me to decide. Because the question I pose you is one match means that technically he's still a wrestler.
And
the other thing to look at too, look at the amount of money I could throw at Adam Pearce for a one time or a one story feud.
Adam Pearce. Who would I want for Adam Pearce?
Big Daddy, you know the WWE roster. You know the AEW roster. What do you think's fair market value?
Jake Roberts.
Ooh.
Jake Roberts for.
Ooh.
I'm trying to think of his name. Who is the commentary guy that was a big name in Ring of Honor? He's like a English guy. I can't remember his name. Nigel
McGuinness.
I would give you Adam Pearce for Nigel McGuinness.
Didn't Nigel return back to the ring at some point?
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Primarily a commentator, but it doesn't rule out an occasional appearance in ring.
I would give you Nigel McGuinness for Adam Pearce.
You know what? I want to throw one more little tweak here.
Okay.
And I'm going to see what you think. I'll shake on it if you give me Jack Perry too. I have Jack Perry, so I can't work there. How about you give me how about you give me let's call it. You give me to get Nigel. You give me Adam Pearce and R-Truth.
Done.
Okay. I can handle that. Because that gives your new signee Danhausen all the platform in the world to be the comedy. You could add R-Truth, and again, with all that roster at AEW and all those new people to play on, I can handle that. And he's a solid hand in the ring too. So, Joe.
Yes.
About one more.
One more. One more.
And as a reminder, I could pass you over if you want to get input from Big Daddy P, because he's been pretty solid tonight.
One more. I would give you LA Knight for Darby Allin.
Ooh. I think I'm going to kind of agree with Big Daddy on this one. I don't think that I can let that go, but I will counter your offer by giving you for LA Knight How about LA Knight and LA Knight and The Miz for Hangman Adam Page?
LA Knight and The Miz. Deal. I would take it. I would take Hangman Page. Absolutely.
Okay. I
There
think
you
I
go.
could be happy with that. Now, Perry, you've heard pretty much all of the draft picks. All the dealings that have gone down tonight. If you had your choice, who do you think walked out with the better deal?
I'd probably say AEW got the better deal in the end because they're just the product would be so improved with all those with the Miz and all those workers that in the end I think it would be definitely a better deal for AEW.
You know, I'm gonna say this. I had to figure out a way to make it a point after Joe took half my roster by taking the Don Callis family. And I just have to pose this one question. I've already agreed to the deal. Does that mean you get Don Callis too?
Yes.
Okay.
He's part of the Don Callis family.
Now, I gotta say there's a lot of people, there's several that I wasn't necessarily totally copacetic about trading, but to get what I think AEW needed, we'd be there. Now, I want to throw one more question out there.
Okay.
And it's just, if you had from WWE, being the executive general manager, COO, however you want to go, and you had the opportunity to lock up one person from any other promotion other than AEW, lock up one person, long-term commitment, who would it be?
Red Velvet.
Who would
Hands
you want
down.
to, Jonesy?
Wow. From any other promotion but AEW, right?
Or
Correct.
WWE, right? Or just AEW only.
Yeah, he's already got WWE.
Yeah, so
Well, you might think I'm crazy, but one of my favorite wrestlers of all times is Minoru Suzuki.
Ooh.
And
Do you think you could manage to figure out a way, and I'm just going to throw this out here, Minoru Suzuki into somebody?
I think it could.
And so who would you consider?
That's a tough question. That is a very tough question. Who would you consider?
For Minoru Suzuki?
Yeah.
Ooh. How about a first feud of him and El Grande Americano Original?
Oh.
I'm referring to the accomplished amateur wrestler, El Grande Americano.
Grande
Not
Americano.
the fluent in Spanish, El Grande Americano.
Gotcha. Okay.
I can't necessarily confirm or deny who's under that mask. But when it comes down to it, I think that would be a great first avenue to go with.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've got to figure out who I would want from any promotion.
Red Velvet.
I think
as long as she stays healthy.
that's true. That is true. You know who I think I'm gonna go with, and I think there's a lot of potential, a lot of upside. I think I would go, even though as much much as I love New Japan, the one I would bring into AEW, the new Skyscrapers, Dijak and now I can't for the life of me remember the other one of the new Skyscrapers.
Where's Dijak at?
Dijak and Bishop Dyer.
Where are they at?
MLW.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, again, you don't have too many extremely large gentlemen in there. If I couldn't get them to agree, I think my next avenue, I think I go with Frankie Kazarian.
Okay.
Because I think Kazarian is, I think he's still got some miles left in the tank. And the last one, again, staying with TNA, I think is the idea of you bring in, and I'm going to say it, you bring in Josh Alexander.
Okay. That would work.
Any of the three of them would be fine by me.
Okay.
So, but like I said, I mean, that concludes the first ever Wrestle Talk Podcast Fantasy Draft. Again, we got to give a shout out to our resident in-depth analyst, the one, the only, Big Daddy P. Big Daddy, before we let you go here this evening, if people want to find out more information about you, they have questions, whether it comes to podcasting, Painter Stream Productions, upcoming events that you're going to be at, or just any questions in general, how do they get a hold of you?
Perry Hartman on Facebook, facebook.com/PerryHartman. That's the best way.
All right.
You name it, Big Daddy P can provide it for you. Again, a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of information, and all around just a great and classy individual. The one, the only Big Daddy P. Big Daddy, thank you for coming on the program and providing your analysis here of the first ever Wrestle Talk Podcast Fantasy Draft.
And I definitely look forward to seeing you next show.
All right.
Most definitely. Like I said, Big Daddy P joining us here again on tonight's program. Take care, Perry. We will see you soon. Now, Jonesy.
Yes.
We're getting pretty close to the end of the show.
Yes.
Now, as it stands, we're about 2 hours in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as we said here, what are your thoughts about tonight's draft?
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. A lot of interesting deals and whatnot not going on. Next time we should definitely get some more people so we have some more wrestling promotions to work with. Because could you imagine if we had somebody that had TNA or somebody that had New Japan Pro Wrestling? Some of the deals that we'd be going through would, oh my goodness.
Oh, there would be a ton of deals going on.
Yes.
In this, if we would have been able to have those others represented. And again, it doesn't rule out the idea of us having future episodes of the fantasy draft. This reminds me a lot of the first Wrestle Madness.
Yes. I was thinking about Wrestle Madness. I was thinking about
the idea of what's there. And again, Mr. Golden Ticket himself.
Yes. Demolition. I used my golden ticket the first round for Demolition. And speaking of Demolition, we were talking about who should induct them. There was one tag team that is still around that should induct Demolition, the Powers of Pain. They had a massive feud with Demolition. They Survivor Series. It was the double turn where the Powers of Pain were faces, Demolition were heel, and Demolition turned face, and the Powers of Pain turned heel and joined Master Fuji.
And that's one of those two, when you sit there and look at it, Joe, is the idea of where the WWE and professional wrestling, where else can you go and see both tag teams change perspectives.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, again, great opportunity here. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, the Wrestle Talk podcast has concluded our draft for this evening. Want to
Yes.
thank those for tuning in here this evening. Nightmare Jones, I know right now there's been all sorts of chaos going on back in the media room.
Yes.
I want to give a shout out to all of our great tech people who've been trying to put this together for us tonight and
Yep.
get things going. Do you, during the show this evening, a little bit of kind of pulling that curtain back a little bit, but there were some people saying that there were a lot of questions and whatnot. Do you have an opportunity to see and make sure that there's somebody still back there running the controls, or is it one of those? Or is it one of those where they've all checked out for the evening because of all these monster trades and how we traded 37 people in one pick?
I think that they've all checked out for this for the evening because of everything that's been going on.
Well, here's my question. You have control of the boards?
I do.
You have control of the boards. So that means, and I know it's something that the Night Owl doesn't let me play this often, but can you find the find it, please? I don't ask a lot, but can you find the Lord Alfred Hayes sounder?
If I can
you find it in there?
Let's see here.
I hope it's there because we got to talk about our sponsors, and it'll save me a few seconds. Can you see?
All right, I think. Oops. See if I can.
Can we find it? They're all gone away. We can play whatever sounds we want. This is kind of cool, and we can take over. It's like it's podcast.
See what we can find here.
Come on, Jones. You can find promotional considerations. Come on. Please find promotional considerations. Please find Lord Alfred Hayes. If anything's right in the world, please find Lord Alfred Hayes.
Oh my goodness, there's so many.
Come on, Jonesy. You got this. You're an old pro at this, man. You can find the Lord Alfred Hayes sounder.
Oh, there it is.
I'm going to have to.
There it is.
Okay,
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
All right, now that we've got that done and now we've got that taken care of, can you go ahead real quick since they're gone? They don't have the first clue. Can you go ahead and put so all of our great fans can see the sponsors of the Wrestle Talk podcast down at the bottom of the screen? We've got our sponsors listed, and we want to thank all the sponsors for the Wrestle Talk podcast, without who this show doesn't go the way that it's been. Again, we want to thank all of our great sponsors. We have, of course, Retro Zone. If you've ever been in the Kansas City area, make it a point to check out Retro Zone. They got so much cool stuff that's available for you. Painter Stream Productions, you just heard from Big Daddy P here a few minutes ago. Sunday, July 19th. Tickets are available at their website. Doomed Outfitters, the WDWA, which you can catch Elevation next Tuesday at this time, and the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. Now, Jonesy, I got to tell you, it's been a great show. It really has been. The media department, I think they've officially decided that they don't want you and I to team together for a while because we make all sorts of cool changes happen. But any final thoughts for tonight?
Oh man, it has been an absolute blast. I cannot wait for the next show. It's always a pleasure, Luke. Always a pleasure.
I got you, Jonesy. And again, one reminder too, and I want to give a shout out here. If anybody ever has any mental problems, mental issues, you're stressing, you're struggling out, make it a point to talk to somebody. You've always got an ear to listen to. Again, as a good friend of mine once says, if you ever need any kind of assistance, always remember you can call 988 for mental health assistance. Make it a point to take care of things because we take care of each other. That's one of the big things here on this planet is when it comes down to it, we always don't have our best days. We always don't have our worst days, but having somebody there to be your support, to be there when you need them is one of the greatest things in the world. And again, from top to bottom, I want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. Like I said, we got plenty more coming up next week. Same time, right here on all these great media outlets will be WDWA Elevation. And in 2 weeks' time, you will see the newest now I can talk to them on those nights. You'll get to see another edition of the world famous Wrestle Talk podcast right here on all your great media outlets. For Nightmare Jones, this is Luke Roberts. We're going to see you all here in 2 weeks. We'll definitely see you back here next Tuesday night for WDWA Elevation. Jonesy, can you go ahead and hit the outro video?
If I can find it, it would be amazing. It's not working.
Gentlemen, once again, is the joys of our media department not being here. I know for a fact that several of them are looking out there and they're just realizing podcast this evening. Jonesy, it should be right up there next to the introduction as well.
Yeah,
So,
I'm clicking on it and it's not working.
we'll see what. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Wrestle Talk podcast and myself, Nightmare Jones, I want to thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you back here next week for WDWA Elevation, and in 2 weeks for the world's premier professional wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk podcast. Take care, everybody.